Maulana Maududi is one of the followers of Imam Waliullah. And he followed Imam Waliullah in these three respects, in the sense that he forcefully argues Islam is a complete system. In Urdu, Islam Islamic Mukammal Nizam Hayat. And this might seem truism today, but with the rise of modernism and with the rise of imperialism and with the defeat of Muslim scholars in 1857, after which the British committed one of the unique genocide of Muslim scholars in India, where, according to some account, over 60,000 Muslim scholars were executed, and many were banished to in uninhabited islands, and many, had to flee for their life. So after that, the strategy of ulama was to withdraw and protect Islam as much as they could in masjid. And this withdrawal was in part with withdrawal from politics. And many of when you do certain things and you don't do certain other things which are expected of you, then you try to explain them as well. And often you try to explain them as contingent strategies, but it is easy to slip from contingency to principled opinion. And one of the outcome of this was many Muslim scholars either didn't pay attention to the aspect of Islam which called for describe Islam as a complete system, because a lot of it was theoretical, because the system was not under Muslim influence. So they didn't want to talk about things which were just theoretical. And they didn't want to obviously agitate the British, who were always on lookout against any possible, anti-systematic struggles from Muslims. And one of the negative outcome of it was that some Orthodox big scholars and their schools developed, which actually presented Islam as a system or a way of life which can, cohabit with the British rule and all those things. And they focus on individual purification of the people and teaching them Islamic rules and implementing Islam in family life and all that. So the classical defensive strategy. But in order to, defend their strategy, some of them actually argued that Islam wasn't a system, and politics was something which wasn't necessarily part of Islam. Like, for example, Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanvi, who was one of the students of Maulana Mahmudul Hasan Deobandi, but actually opposed the jihadi movement of Maulana Mahmudul Hasan, because he thought that this was, against the interests of Islam and all that. Anyway, in that, and obviously with the British rule, the secularism was rise. Secularism was on rise, obviously among Muslim as well as Hindus. And some of the Orthodox Muslim scholars were impressed with that secularism as well, at least at the practical level, because they thought, that was the best way to defend Islam in India. And whatever its merits were from a practical point of view, from a theoretical point of view, there was concessions were made which were not Islamic, or at least against the spirit of Islam. So against those, one of the great mujaddids of our time was Maulana Maududi. He reasserted forcefully Shah Waliullah's notion that Islam is a complete system, which he describes in detail in Hujjatullah al-Baligha and in his other books, in Fuyuzul Haramain and in At-Tafhimat al-Ilahiyya and in Izalatul Khafa and Khilafat al-Khulafa, and all those other works. Um,